Hello, welcome to Marketing Primer number 4, a guide to basic digital strategies. This primer will walk you through the essential and important elements of a digital strategy and what you can do to improve your knowledge and use of digital for your practice. Previous marketing primers have focused on the ability to help you understand your unique marketing advantage, conducting research to better understand patient and community needs, as well as conducting community outreach events and thought leadership programs to further strengthen and enhance your position in your marketplace. This webinar, again, will focus on an essential understanding of what's taking place in the digital world around physician practices. We do recommend that a majority of these strategies are carried out with you and a marketing partner or a media partner, and we'll get through some of the criteria for selecting that partner throughout this webinar. So thank you for joining us. I'm Rob Rosenberg, President of Springboard Brand and Creative Strategy, and I look forward to talking through a guide to basic digital strategies. Specific content for this webinar will include first defining terms and understanding the value of digital marketing strategies. The second, basics of website development. Really the first and foremost tactic that should be developed in your digital arsenal is a website, and we'll talk about ways to do this inexpensively and efficiently. Then we'll get into the basics of social media. Sure, you're familiar with Facebook and Instagram and other channels, but let's talk today about how to use social media to enhance your digital strategy and, again, strengthen your practice in the marketplace. And then we'll get into the basics of digital media, a wide universe of terms and a wide universe of approaches. And again, we recommend when we get into paid media that you use a media company with medical expertise to help you in this regard, but still it's important to understand key terms and overall knowledge of digital media. Well, let's get into defining some of the terms of a digital strategy. First, a website. We're all familiar with websites, and the majority of you have probably developed your first website and more are in need of an enhancement now than a new development. However, there are still many physician practices that are still looking to develop that first website. What is a website? It's a collection of pages that cover a particular brand or organization. Much like your website for a physician practice, most companies, again, utilize this important digital tactic. When you first click on a website, its opening page is called a home page. You'll hear this referred to throughout this webinar, and now you'll understand that it's that first page that comes up when you initially get into a website. Social media is a means of interactions among people in which they create, share, and or exchange information and ideas in virtual communities and networks. Again, you're familiar with Facebook and Reddit and Twitter and Instagram and others. And it's, again, a way to create your own network and ultimately post and share your knowledge and insights. A terrific way to gain thought leadership and provide a presence in the community. Let's talk about digital media. These are assets or content that's shared through a digital device or screen for distribution. Now, in this particular case, we can earn it, and it's shared content, and that's typically in social media. We can own it, and that's proprietary content. That's your own thought leadership, blogs that you develop on your website and other initiatives. And then paid, which we'll talk mostly about in digital media, which is purchase platforms reaching key audiences. And there's a variety of ways to do this, and we'll walk through these as we go through today's webinar. Importantly, the interconnectivity of digital strategies is ever present. From the web development, think of it as your hub, as your core of digital strategy. Around it then becomes the content that you can develop and the channels in which you can distribute it via social media. So the web development, again, is kind of your first cog. It gets into then the ability to develop content, thought leadership posts, and then get it out there to your universe, your network, your patients, your prospective patients via social media. Understanding the value. Well, obviously, digital strategies are a must-have for all organizations, including physician practices today. It's a go-to for your patients, again, prospective patients, community members, referral sources, and other important audiences. When individuals want to know about your practice, the first place they'll look is a website, and it's important to be able to have all these elements in place. Digital strategies are also an opportunity for you to control and efficiently present your capabilities and patient experiences. What a unique opportunity today, again, to be able to distribute on your own all the information that you want your patients and prospective patients, referral sources, and other audiences to know about your practice and your expertise. And then digital strategies also provide online tools to help you with a consistent and unified approach to social media posts and website pages. So it's important that once you've established your brand identity, as we've discussed in Primer 1, under creating a unique marketing advantage, it's important that you have a consistent look and feel in the marketplace so viewers and visitors know readily that it's your practice that is distributing the information that they're reading. So creating that is important, and again, there are tools to help you do this. Well, let's get into the basics of website development. Again, your homepage is that first page of your website, and it's the ideal place to highlight your unique story based on the work you completed in Primer 1, identifying your unique marketing advantage. You went through a series of exercises, potentially with your staff, to discuss your strengths, your weaknesses, and your passions about the types of patients, cases, disease states, and others that you like to treat and or based on market research feel you should treat to again take a unique place in the marketplace. So your website should feature essentially this information. In addition, as we've discussed earlier, biographies and photos of you and your team. Importantly, limit staff profiles to those team members who will interact with patients. That's really important to be able to, as a patient, go through your website in advance of your meeting and your appointment and identify who your attending providers will be. If you can, secure patient testimonials from those who have visited your practice. Get approval from your patients, have them sign a waiver, and use that patient testimonial on your website. It's a wonderful way to enrich it and to bring an authenticity to it for other patients to understand their experience, satisfaction with your services. The website also is a terrific place to update your blogs and community events, as we discussed in Primer 3. You can post these on your thought leadership portion of your website, and it's a real go-to resource for those interested in specific subjects. Now, as I mentioned, it's important to think through using an outside supplier or vendor consultant to help you. And if you're looking to get into this on your own, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace are examples of easier to use platforms if you, again, want to get into the development of a website and its ongoing maintenance. But we do recommend that you work with an outside firm. Also, in terms of the basics of website development, it is highly technical, as I mentioned. And if you work with the firm, they can help you ensure your website is optimized. What does this mean? It means using keywords and other phrases that will rank higher in Google searches to bring your practice to the forefront of those seeking services. They can help you understand the navigation and a better patient user experience. Really important from a website perspective that it be easy to use and that it logically take a visitor through each of the different elements. And again, as we showed earlier graphically, connect all other digital media strategies so that your website becomes the hub for content development and social media distribution. So speaking of social media, let's talk about the basics, things you should know. As mentioned earlier, it's a form of owned media where you get to create personal channels of communications to those in your chosen network. What an interesting opportunity today to be able to disseminate information that you want to create and generate out into the marketplace. It allows you to, again, take your unique marketing advantage, crystallize it with different services and different opinions and thought leadership on various disease states or other healthy lifestyle opportunities, and again, send that out to your network. Platforms such as Facebook and Instagram are two of the more popular networks under the Meta Corporation. Facebook reaching older audiences, allowing both text and images to appear on your posts. Instagram reaches a younger audience, like TikTok and other Reddit and other channels such as that. And here posts are really just image or video based, but you can put your website link in your profile's bio, and you'll see that very often in Instagram. So lots of different ways to reach different audiences and different demographics through the use of social media. But let's talk about the difference between a personal profile and a business page. So a personal profile represents simply an individual person. Jane and Joe, who live in X city. And that's what you typically see among your friend group. However, a business page represents organizations and companies. This is the classification you should use for your social media channel. Looking at a business page development versus a personal page. This way, it will separate your personal posts from your professional posts, and that's really important to distinguish them. And really keep your business page focused on your practice, its services, its expertise, its passions. It's important also to understand how to access and provide permissions to manage your social media accounts. Now, Meta permissions and roles are assigned to individuals. Twitter has its own username and login. Each of the different social media channels have various assignments for owning and accessing their account. It's important to understand these in each of the different channels you choose to utilize. Importantly, across all platforms, you, the physician owner, should be the primary administrator of any social media account, and permission should only be granted by you to other staff to access and or contribute to your social media account. Really important so that you make sure the information is clearly on brand and represents your thinking, expertise, and practice guidelines. Along those lines, it's important to establish a clear exit strategy for departing employees regarding online posts and comments. So oftentimes NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and other documents are used to make sure that when employees, for example, either leave on their own or you decide that they should, that there's an understanding in terms of what they may or may not post about your practice online or how they might interact with posts that you make. It's really important, again, to protect your practice, its reputation, and make sure that posts around your practice are on brand and important to those who are following. And of course, storing passwords is in a digitally secured protector is important. Don't leave them unsecured on sticky notes or other online unprotected platforms where somebody might be able to get into your account, hack it. Store passwords in a digitally secured protector, of which there are many. And again, social media platforms have encouraged administrators to enable two-factor authentication. Using a tool such as Duo will provide your accounts with robust security. Again, important to understand the security basis of all social media before embarking on this strategy to protect you and to protect your practice and your employees. Your social media post should always first align, as mentioned earlier, with the authentic and unique story that's been established for your brand. They should link back to your website, and they should include calls to action or CTAs, such as learn more or book an appointment. Now, importantly, consider accessibility and some of the ADA principles. For example, avoid call to actions like watch or read or listen or join us, etc., because not everyone is able to do so. Again, working with a professional or a firm can help you avoid mistakes like this and be universally and readily available to those who want to understand your services and interests via social media. Continuing the basics of social media, effective media posts should include the introduction of team members, And again, those that will serve as patients or will be patient-facing, whether they walk into your office, who they'll be seeing, and perhaps who they'll check out. Announce new services and or other office locations with your social media posts. Terrific content for you to be able to put out there to show your expansion and growth. You can also share important practice-relevant information around hours or other operations that you want your patients and prospective patients to know, weekends and so forth. And you can, again, promote your unique approaches to patient care and experiences. And here's where, again, those testimonials can really play an important role for you and really authenticate your social media and your practice and make it very genuine and welcoming. Additionally, with social media, it's important to establish a consistent design for your social media presence and use similar graphics for your posts, whether it's on your website or your social media, whether it's a type of artwork that you use, a color palette that you prefer, or a typography that goes across, again, your website to your social media. It's important to establish that consistent look so that individuals who are following you recognize potentially your posts and your website as belonging to your practice. Canva is an example of an online tool that can help you create a more visual presence for your posts, and that's free for beginning packages. Embed Social offers other tools to help you launch an effective media strategy. And again, as noted, we recommend working with an agency or consultant to implement online strategies so you'll be able to gain the most from your social media presence. Now let's talk about the basics of digital media, really from a paid media perspective. Search, digital display, and then paid boosts of your social media posts. It really is an interconnected network of how you can essentially use digital media to bring prospective patients back into the hub of your practice online, which is your website. Well, let's get into the basics of digital media from a paid standpoint. First, there's search. It's a term you might hear if you're working with a consultant or other vendor. Now, in search, you use keywords that trigger your practice and or display ad to appear on a user's screen. So based on the keyword, you might choose certain specialties or different interest groups or different disease states or different opportunities in your marketplace for individuals to identify your practice in the market. So these terms are essentially bid on by not only your practice, but others that want to use the same types of terms. So budgeting is based on that. So the more popular the keyword, the higher cost for certain words because the bidding will be greater. Again, it gets technical. It's important to consult with someone on this, but just so you understand that the use of keywords is very important throughout all of your digital strategies. An optimized website will also emerge on a user screen if it contains desired keywords. So in an organic search, which is essentially where somebody might put in looking for a doctor with expertise in back injuries or back health, essentially, if these keywords match with those on your site, your website will begin to show up on the user screen, not as an ad, but as its actual site. So that's called essentially for organic search. You want to use keywords to optimize your website. And that's typically known as SEO or search engine optimization. Now let's look at digital display ads. So these are ads that you'll create or have an agency create to appear on a user screen when search terms are entered. So if they enter, for example, what I referenced earlier, suddenly there's an ad that appears and it's for your practice because websites and Google work together to essentially make sure that those search terms are linked and synced with certain display ads. It can also be planned to appear on other web pages your prospects visit. So if they leave a site and they go to another website, that user will essentially then see your ad pop up again because of their expressed interest in the services that you provide that match your keywords and bring them to your website. And again, that same action from the user standpoint will trigger your ads to appear on their social media pages as well. And we've all seen this on the other end as users. And this, again, is very complicated and intricate and should be designed with using an agency or a media partner to help you with this. In addition, in terms of social media posts, you can provide paid boosts or sponsorships of your social media posts. And again, it can be targeted to reach a wider universe outside your channel. And you see this often where it'll say sponsored ad on a Facebook post, means that somebody has taken a post and has provided a daily cost to spread that out and amplify that boost across the universe. Now, as I mentioned earlier, digital media is complicated, and we do recommend hiring a digital media firm. So in doing that, seek referrals from other practices, those in your market that you respect and trust. Talk to other practitioners about firms that they've used so that you have a comfort level that you'll work with somebody that's reliable and respectable in the marketplace. And we suggest choosing a firm with medical expertise so they understand the nuances of practice marketing and the best ways to generate a digital presence for you and your practice. Now, the right budget will depend on many factors, and again, that includes the cost per action you'd like to attain, how long the campaign will run, the target you're reaching, and the geography you want to cover. All of these variables will impact your budget. Now, a contract with a digital firm should properly document the deliverables and the agreement on campaign goals and analytics up front. It's important to identify for the firm and for your own knowledge exactly what you would like to accomplish. So oftentimes analytics are data points for performance. They include impressions or the number of times ads or your practice appears on a screen. Typically, these can represent thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of, again, impressions. Now, from the impressions, will an individual take action? Will they click on your site? Will they click on your ad or social media post? This is another important key performance indicator or KPI for your social media and digital media strategy. Now, once they click, it's important to understand how long they go on your website and how long they stay for. These are click-through rates. Experts in this area can help you understand the normative data on click-through rates. So there's impressions, there's clicks, but then there's also click-through rates when individuals want to know more about your services and ultimately link back to your website. So a lot of information, a lot of hopefully good insight, and a basic understanding of digital media strategies for you in this webinar. So thank you very much for joining us today on Marketing Primer number 4 for the Steps Forward program. We hope again that you've gleaned important insights and information on a digital strategy, and this helps to continue to present your practice in a very powerful and very important place in your marketplace to attain new patients and retain existing ones. So thank you very much again.